Okay, hello girls. Thanks for getting on training again tonight. You guys are awesome. Um, Tonight, I'm just sort of going to talk about the last couple of months of the year and just a slightly different approach on how to figure out what you're going to do. We're sort of heading towards the end of the year, so I know it's only the 22nd of October, but for realistically, a lot of us, we kind of end we kind of go on holidays around the 22nd of December. So I feel like we've got 2 months left in the year and then an extra bonus week on the end of that. So just in case you've got that week of buffer, if you can get stuff done between Christmas and New Year. Typically I take holidays and don't get a lot done. So I try and get everything done and my end of month sorted before Christmas so that I'm got everything up to speed. It's fairly typical for most people around this time of the year to be really focused on Christmas parties, work events, school. I've got school stuff for my kids. A lot of you guys have got uni exams coming up. So you kind of get really bogged down with all that. So we tend to, just lose track a little bit with our DMO. So I want you sort of to think back to in January when you had goals that you're going to set, and if you've hit those goals, let me know in the chat. Now, if you haven't, because I haven't, it's fine, because quite often we get to this point of the year and we go, holy crap, I haven't done everything, and we can kind of get a bit overwhelmed by that because we think it's too late. So what I really want to tell you is like not letting that last 2 months go by without a bit of focus to it, so you can still finish strong. So don't get overwhelmed by those goals that you set earlier in the year. Just because it's only 2 months left, you may not have hit them, but I don't want you to give up on getting there. So so once we sort of can get a bit overwhelmed with that, and I know what I quite often do is I think, oh my God, there's so many things I wanted to do, and then I lose the plot and then I do nothing. So I don't want you to waste those 2 months thinking that. So in fact, we're going to a lot of sales. I've lost my plot. Even if you don't get a lot of sales over the next 2 months, what you do right now can set you up for a really amazing January. So I find I think we have one more real chance to promote the shred during November. December I find for me is a really little slow, but then if you keep promoting it over this time, it'll be really good. So you really set up your January really, really well. So I've seriously lost the plot on where I was with what I was going to say. So instead of letting that overwhelm of our goals get to us, I want to change our energy. So your flow in this business really comes from your energy, which Tamara talks about all the time with you guys. You know that when you get on with things you really should be doing, you maintain that high energy in the business, and this really does affect your sales. So for me, that starts with training. So as long as I'm educating and training myself, my energy around the business stays really high. My conversations keep coming in and things just seem to happen. As soon as I sort of drop my self-development, my energy drops, my conversations start dropping. And before I know it, I haven't really made any new connections for a while. So I try and make sure I maintain that over that time. So if you wanted to reset your goals for the next month, I don't want you to do that now. I was going to do that, but instead of setting some targets, like specific targets over for what we're going to do, we can talk about not talk about like, oh, I want to have 5 new customers or I want to hit a rank. I want you to focus on actions and what you can do to keep your energy up and your focus really, really clear. When you're really unstoppable when your energy is high, and I sort of want you to work on how to keep your energy high, so see what works for you. One of the biggest things I did for my business was to stop doing things that I hated. So when I first sort of started doing Juice Plus, my husband was helping me out, and he's like, oh, you got to do a blog, it'll be really good. So he created this site for me, set up a blog. He's like, it'll help you with your following and blah, 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 blah. So anyway, he set up this page. I wrote out some blog posts that I didn't really like doing, and I didn't really care about what I was doing. And I put it off all the time. And when I did do it, I thought it was pretty crappy. And I'm like, oh well, that'll do for now. And so the damn blog was always in the back of my mind, and it was annoying me. It was taking up space, and I'm like, oh, I've got to get that done. So one day I kind of just thought, you know what, I hate blogging. It's ridiculous. It's like I'm boring myself. What's the point? So I stopped doing it. I just decided that I'd grow a business doing things that I love doing, so not worrying about what everyone else is doing. So I want to make a quick list of things that you enjoy doing. It doesn't have to be to do with the business, so just the stuff that you like doing in your day-to-day life. So I'll kind of show you how we can use this to improve what we do every day. So make a quick list now. It could be like, is it planning or writing or talking to people or teaching people or dancing? For a lot of you guys love dancing, cooking, exercise. Like, what do you do in your everyday life that lights you up? And so what that means is at the end of the day, did it give you energy, and did you walk away from that experience going, oh, I feel awesome? Or were you like, oh my God, that was exhausting, and you need to like sit down and get over it? So just take a few minutes and just write down what it is that you love doing. So quiet when you're all muted. Can you guys all hear my dog walking backwards and forwards? He can't sit still. Okay, so is everybody finished? Mary's still writing. I can't flick between screens very well. Okay, so from this list, I want you to then just come up with how you can do some of these things to fulfill the income producing activities that we do in our business. Income producing activities are running events, talking to people, meeting new people, creating new conversations, inviting people to one of our events or listening to a recording, following up on people, so people you've invited to events or people you've previously known or previous conversations, just general follow-ups, and also creating content that inspires and educates and entertains people. How can you, I want you to think of ways how you can use the things that you love to do to get the things that you should be getting done. So have a few minutes to think about that and see how you could tweak what you're doing now. For me, one of the biggest things was I love meeting new people, but I'm not really good at talking to people I've never met in person online. Like, I've never been really good at just random conversations. I do it a little bit now, but not a lot. So one of the things I started doing was going to networking meetings with other businesses in the area, which for me is really good because I run 2 other businesses. So I could have this avenue of talking about multiple things at one time, but I always had a really high Juice Plus conversation, and that was my primary lead business that I would talk to people about. And through that, I met lots of people who I would either talk to personally on the day, or we would make general contact in way of exchanging business cards and stuff. So then I would friend them on Facebook, and then I would send them a message to say, hey, I didn't get a chance to talk to you today, blah, blah, blah. This is what I do. You know, I have some groups. If this health interests you, jump in my group. I look forward to getting to know you, that sort of thing. So for me, that was a really good way of me getting out of the house because I work at home, meeting people that I really like doing, and then also getting those connections. So that sort of fulfills ticks my boxes of what I love to do. So, and that was a way for me to expand my network. So have a little think about what you've written down and what you do and how you can use that to expand what you want to either, on those activities. just scanning through. I can't read and talk at the same time. I would completely lose the plot. Cool. Invite people for walks with your mum. Yeah, mums groups are great. Mums groups are so good, Blair. I've made lots of friends through mums groups. And then school, I've got like friends for life from school. Okay, so this kind of brings us back to then what we're going to do for the rest of the year. So you can sort of piece together in setting new goals. And I think, I don't know if Tamara's planning on doing goal setting like at the beginning of, like for the last 2 months at the beginning of November. So you can kind of make a, for me, I like to mull over things. So having the idea that I could just incorporate everything that I love doing into what I should be doing, that's kind of an ever-present thought in my mind of how I can bring everything together in my life to do lots of fun stuff, but also make new friends and meet new people and stuff. When it comes to my goal setting, I actually set, he just wants to play. Yeah, I tend to set actions for myself rather than actual goals. I'll like set action. My actions are usually I'll have a certain amount of conversations over the week, or I'll have a certain amount of events this month, or I'll do this much training and self-development. Setting these types of goals allows me to have like more control in it, and then I can feel like, because I'm the only one accountable to that. So when I've had those conversations, I've achieved my goal. If I'm relying on people to get back to me to place orders for my goal to be a certain amount of orders, it kind of messes with my mojo, basically. It messes with my head. So I can't really, I tend not to have those. I have them in mind of what my goal is to try and hit, but to hit that, I figure out how many conversations I need to have and how much I need to do. So if you can kind of hit those targets, you can lift your energy up again in that sense. You can, you know, you're like, yeah, I did it. And I tell you, days I hit my, because I use Teamsy, which is really, really cool, gives me this percentage ranking of how I've done everything every day. So I set the targets of how many conversations and how many customers and how many team I have to talk to. So when I hit that percentage, like at 100%, I'm like, yes, nailed it. And one day I did like something like 50 new conversations because I had met all these people through various things and I was catching up on it all at the same time. And I sent to Danny, I'm like, yeah, smash my Teamsy today. And she's like, oh my God. So it's really cool. So, you know, and some of those conversations came back, some of them didn't. You just, you know, because that's not what it's about. It's about getting the conversation started and seeing where they take you. So, yeah. So that's mainly what I wanted to talk about, was just setting those, see what actions you can, you know, create that are really going to gel with your values. When you work out your core values, it's pretty awesome, because we all have certain values that resonate with us, and everything you do in your life really, it brings those values, like everything that you do in your life that you like doing satisfies those values. So you can figure out what those values are. You can really set your life up to establish, you know, a lot of happiness in it, and you'll have a lot of success when you're working within your core values. There's heaps more I can talk about that, and I sort of waffle on and go off on tangents. So has anybody got any questions? I'm nearly pretty much done. So you can just unmute yourself if you've got questions, or
Hello, I have a question.
Hello, how you going?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Sorry, I was late. Yes. My question is, when you have team and when you are like building team, what is a way that you can kind of get people motivated at this point in the year? So my thing is, like, obviously, like, I'm a student and we have exams and stuff coming, but after that as well, people tend to kind of slip through the cracks and like, oh, it's the end of the year, like it's fine, we'll start next year. Like that's been a really big thing, like, oh, I'll start when the time is right.
Yeah.
And in terms of, you were saying like maintaining your energy and stuff, yeah, how do you, I feel like I have been really working on that, and on like on having the energy of not like desperation or whatever, but just having the confidence or whatever. But what is like what can you do in terms of team
So
specifically?
you're talking about getting your new team or your current team?
Current team, and then also prospects who are like on the verge of like saying yes, or
Yeah.
who are really excited but haven't yet.
Yeah. For uni students, I would use it as an opportunity for them to be, the fact that they're on holidays, they've got all this time to start building their business and setting up the new year for for having income coming in as they're getting back to uni when, they have less time for it. Everybody needs a bit of extra money over Christmas. It helps with the holidays. It helps with, Christmas presents and that sort of thing. So I think that's something everybody uses during the year to just sort of say, people say, oh, I haven't got time, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, well, or they can't afford it. Like, well, would the extra income at this time of the year really help? So for parents, I know it's coming into this beginning of the school year, you've got all the school uniforms and the expense of starting up school as well. So I kind of gear people up towards that as well. With regards to prospects, I struggle as well at this time of the year. Some people really smash it. I'd love to know their secret as well. I think it's just lots and lots of conversations. I do always try to encourage people not to put things off, because people always put them, I'll do it later. And I kind of use only so many times you can say the same thing over and over again. So I just keep them, I make sure that they still know that they're important and their health journey is important and all that sort of thing. So I maintain that relationship. I don't just drop my relationships off as soon as they say, oh, no, not yet, for 6 months. I maintain that level of relationship, because I think that's really important just for I do it because I don't like to be that fake person who's only contacting people just for sales. So there's certain people I spoke to, I've sort of been contacting, I met a character at this event a little while ago. So those events I was talking about, they've been really good. I've got 3 new customers in 2 months out of it, which is really, really good from 2 events. So, but I've built this relationship with a chiropractor, and she's really keen in it, but she's like, oh, no, I can't, no. But I'm just like, and she's got a daughter who's in uni, and then she jumped on our call with you guys, and she's like, oh, I might get my daughter into it. So I'm like, oh, yeah. So I kind of just maintain that relationship so that she knows she's important, regardless of whether she jumps on the business or not. It is a hard time, and I just think you just keep going. It's just it comes down to numbers. It's what Lauren always says. It's a numbers game. So, it really is. Sometimes I have success, sometimes I don't. But I truly, legitimately believe what you do in these 2 months sets up for January, February, because they're the biggest months. Like you can really smash January, February, March if you've set yourself up really, really well, because especially for me, I have a lot of parents who they don't want to do anything till about the 27th of January, when all the kids go back to school. You might find uni students will want to focus on their health again when they go back to uni, which is end of February, roughly, isn't it?
Yeah.
They have heaps of time off. So with uni students, I would be getting to say, instead of getting a daytime job, a part-time job over the holidays where you're confined to work in Hungry Jack's for 6 hours a day and stuff, you could do this at home for 2 or a couple of hours a day and really build your business. So that would be my idea.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Any other questions? You got a question? Hey, Jerry.
He literally unmuted himself.
Did he?
To ask a question, clearly.
Very smart.
Yeah, what did you want to ask? You want to know if you're old enough to be in the business?
No, 18, but I think it's 18.
Yeah, it's 18.
Yeah. I know I'm actually considered, I am quite good friends with all my son's friends, and I'm thinking, in about 5 or 6 years, you guys could probably all be selling Juice Plus for me. I might maintain these friendships really well with my kids' friends. See how that goes. All right, let me just pause.